project 4-5, I've already downloaded my file and my project instructions. I'm going to be toggling back and forth between the instructions and the file. Usually my I print the instructions out when I print it every, so I'll just toggle back and forth. So one I've already opened it, two I've already clicked the enable editing button, and three I've already saved my file. Then I'm down to number 4. Rename the sheet tab to stats. So I can double click and it will highlight it so I can start typing, or I can right click over the sheet and rename. So there's 2 different ways you can do that. Number 5 says to select cell A4 and format the data as an Excel table using table style using table 1. So I'm going to click on A4, and we're going to format as table, and down on medium, and I'm going to choose style 21. If you can't find it, just hover over it and I'll give you the name. And then say OK. Number 6, copy the stats sheet to the end and name copy PM flights. So I'm going to right click on stats, move our copy. I'm going to create a copy and move it to the end and hit OK. And then I'm going to rename it PM flights. Step number 7, we're going to be on the PM flight sheet, and we're going to use a greater than filter to display departure times for 12 p.m. And so we're going to click on number filters. We're going to do a greater than. When you're doing the 12 p.m., you're going to actually put in 0.5. That's a decimal representation of 12. Because 12 is halfway through a 24-hour day. You can type in 12 o'clock p.m. and it would filter it just the same, but SIMnet tends to not like that. They like the 0.5, the decimal instead. So as it's filtered, our departure time is only showing anything after 12 p.m. Step number 8, select the stats worksheet. Select cells I5 through I32, and we're going to do a conditional formatting to show 3 stars in the icon sets in the rating group. So we're going to be on stats. We're going to select I5 through I32. We're going to come up on the Home tab and do conditional formatting, icon sets, and I'm actually going to come to more rules. And I'm going to select my stars. You can select it right from the drop down menu, but I just wanted to show you that you can go into more and set your values a little bit different. For this one, we don't have to. It doesn't tell us to change the values. We'll just hit OK and it will assign a star to whatever I set the criteria to. Step number 9, we're going to now sort that capacity, and we want the solid gold stars to be on top, and then the half gold stars to be in the middle, and then the silver star will be at the bottom. So I'm going to come into my capacity drop down menu, and I'm going to sort and do a custom sort. And then we have to tell it what column we're going to sort by, which is the capacity. And then we're going to sort it not by the numbers, but we want to sort it by the icon. And we want the star, the yellow star, to be on top. I'm going to add a level, same column, cell icon, and I want my half star to be in the middle. And then I don't have to do anything else because by default the silver star will go to the bottom. So as I scroll down, I've got all of my gold stars, all of my half stars, and then all of my silver stars sorted together. Step number 10, we're going to create a pivot chart using our quick analysis tool. So I'm going to select A4 through I-32 on the stats. So basically I'm selecting all of my information. And then the quick analysis tool is right down here in the bottom. This little box pops up. You could go in and insert and do it that way, but this is kind of a nice feature that it just pops here on the bottom. And we want to display a pivot table for the average of capacity by origin. So as I click on my quick analysis tool, I'm going to click on tables. And pivot tables, these are all going to be different ones, so I'm going to look at the one for average of capacity by origin. It's that first pivot table. And whenever you put a pivot table into your worksheet, it will create it on a new worksheet. And so we're going to rename that worksheet pivot table and chart, which I'm actually just going to copy and paste right in there. You could type it in if you want, but you can copy and paste the name just to make sure that you spell out everything correctly. If you don't capitalize something or you have an extra space, then that will mark you wrong. So that's why sometimes it's easier to copy and paste. Step 12, select cell B3 in the pivot table and use field settings to set a number format of percentage with 2 decimal places. And then we're going to name the custom name. So we're going to select B3, come up to my design tab, my analyze tab. Sometimes I get mixed up where things are. So analyze tab, field settings. And we want to set a number format for percentage with 2 decimal places. So we're going to click on number format, percentage with 2 decimal places, and then we're going to name this average capacity instead of average of capacity, and hit OK. So this changes the name and changes how my numbers are formatted. Step 13, I'm going to add the passengers field to the pivot table values area with the sum calculation. So if this goes away, it's because I'm selected out. I'm going to select back on my chart, or my pivot table, and then I've got my fields right here. So we want to add passengers down to this value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag it down. And we want to double check and make sure that it's doing a sum. So that just means that that's how it was calculated. They added the information to get from your stats worksheet to get this information. This one was an average, so they used the average function, and this one they used the sum function. So I've added that to my sum calculation, edit the field settings to display number of passengers as the custom name, and then we're going to set the format to number with 0 decimals and 1,000 separated. So I'm going to come, make sure I'm on my sum of passengers, come up to analyze, field settings, and we want to name it number of passengers. So I'm going to type that in there. You can also copy and paste if you want. And then number format, we want to put it as a number with 0 decimal places using the 1,000 separator. So that just adds the comma in there. So if you were, which is kind of nice, you don't have to actually go in and type the information, you can format it right there, or type the commas, you can format it right away. And this works for any number format that you're doing on your regular data, not just in a pivot table. So I've got that set, I'm going to hit OK. So now I've renamed it and I've got 0 decimal places with my 1,000 separator where it applies. Step 14, use pivot style light 8 for the pivot table, and then show banded columns and rows. So I'm going to come up to design, I'm going to use pivot style light 8, so I'm in the light section. I'm going to find 8. It does say white in front of it, so don't get confused with that. Just look for that pivot style light 8, and then I want banded it wants you to be in E3 down to N22. So I'm just going to put my top corner in E3 and drag it to, N22. You kind of just have to see where the lines are set. 16, select the legend in the chart and set its font size to 11 on the home tab. So here's my legend. And I'm going to change up on my home tab, change it to 11-point font size. And then last step, I'm going to show data labels on the chart position at the inside end. And I'm going to format my data labels to bold and 10 point. So I'm going to select my chart. I'm going to come up to my format, design tab, over to add chart element, on legend, and I want it to be, data label, sorry, on the inside end. So I've got to add those to my chart, and then I can come up and format them on the home tab, make them bold and 10-point font size. And that is the end of our project. Let me know if you have any questions.